Yeah.
Welcome to the Average AF Podcast with your hosts, Adam McElroy and Stephen Hardy.
Hey guys, welcome to the Average AF Podcast. This is episode 6. Obviously, I'm here with Steve, as always.
Yeah. Number 6, man.
It's crazy.
So the goal was 8, right?
Yep.
Hey.
At least, I think we're going to go
I think
pretty far.
Yeah, and it's easy. It's not.
It's definitely getting easier, for
so,
sure.
when you said that, though, I kind of want to talk about a little bit later about why people seem to stop at 8. Because I feel like it's an easy thing outside of, just it being a specific podcast.
Well, let's get to that here in a minute. I do have a couple of announcements that I want to make. By the time this comes out, we are going to have 2 winners to our giveaway on Facebook. We're giving out a t-shirt and a drawstring bag. You can have either one. If you win, you just got to let us know. We did get an updated logo as well, kind of the photo opposite, with the white lettering on the black background. So we could do a lot more with different colors and things like that. By now, I have also received quite a few of stickers that you guys saw on Instagram and Facebook. Those are actually free to anybody who wants one, or a couple even. We're going to have plenty. And I'm not opposed to mailing them out either. I've had a couple friends out of state or even just in general far away that I'm not going to drive all the way over there to give a sticker.
Yeah.
If you're comfortable with it, send me your address or whatever. We'll get you a couple stickers. And then I did today also order a couple new microphones. So we're going to be upgrading our sound quality. We're new to this, so, little trials and errors. But, I'm excited for those to come, and they'll be here before the next episode. But what were you saying about people stopping at 8 episodes?
I feel like we could go. Let's say we hit our 100th episode one day. Mm-hmm. I don't think it would be that difficult to get there. I'm trying to figure out exactly what people, or maybe anybody who has done podcasting that listens to our podcast, give us some thoughts for why you might have quit. I know a lot of people say things like they just have other obligations, and it's just hard to.
Yeah.
I think me and you struggle somewhat, like coming up, not necessarily with what to say, but what exactly we're going to talk about.
Right.
And, what will be of interest to, the people that may be listening and to each other as well. Because like you said, at the end of the day, we're just trying to get to know other people and have other people get to know us. So
right. Yeah, we try to end every episode with you guys at least knowing a little more about us on a personal level or just kind of a fun level, however you want to look at it. But yeah, I think people quit because, one, they're not getting the kind of response that they want quickly. People look for that quick payoff now.
Yes, yes.
And I will say, we've been obviously grateful of everybody who listens, but when you get like 40 plays on an episode, that's actually really good for starting out.
Considering
honestly.
The amount of podcasts you could possibly listen to.
We have almost 400 total plays already on five episodes.
In a little over a month.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm really proud of that, but the number 40 doesn't compare to like Joe Rogan's 10 million or whatever. So it's somewhat discouraging, but I know that it's a long process and we'll get there. But obviously grateful to everybody who listens. But between that and the time and, me and you kind of, I would have to say we're interesting people.
Okay.
We've had definitely interesting lives.
Okay.
Even the last 5-6 years that we've known each other has been pretty chaotic, pretty fun. Definitely a lot of stuff that I never thought would happen.
Right.
So, but yeah, we're pretty interesting people, and honestly, not many people are very interesting. or maybe they just don't know how to express it. How about that?
Yeah,
that's probably maybe a little better way.
I like that, and I think the one-man podcast versus the, 2-person, 3-person.
Yep.
Imagine doing this all by yourself, with no entire help. That would really, you have to spend a lot of time planning And then to try to go execute it could be a whole nother obstacle in itself. So.
Well, actually, I noticed this on Poplar, now that you say that. I always noticed if there was two people in the house or whatever, in the living room, we might talk a little bit, bullshit a little bit, but there's a lot of silence. We're on our phones, we're talking,
right?
We're texting people, we're watching TV, whatever. It's a lot of silence. When you add a third person, it's conversation all night long, no matter what. And it was always interesting to me. I noticed that on Poplar, that if you add the third person, everything just gets so much easier and so much more relaxed.
Right.
So I've actually kind of used that in certain situations where I was like, okay, well, maybe it's kind of awkward to talk to this person or whatever. I don't know them all that well.
Right.
So let me bring Jerry with me. Right. And Jerry never shuts up, but just bring a third person with me. So it's something I noticed actually from us living together.
All right.
Kind of crazy. But today's episode is going to be pretty fun. A couple fun things, couple pretty serious topics. The first thing we're going to start out with is actually 2 truths and a lie. I know a lot of people that kind of hate this game, but we've had new people at work recently, and we're trying to think of like icebreaker questions and stuff. I said, fuck it, let's play 2 truths and a lie. Just because it's fun. I think it's really fun.
Yeah.
You learn a lot about people. Usually there might be a good story with it or something like that. But we got some truths and some lies for you guys, just to kick things off on a fun note. Then we're going to get into our favorite, probably our favorite action stars from our childhood or grown into adulthood. Just talk about them, maybe compare them. Tell Steve that mine would beat his up.
Oh, bullshit, motherfucker.
Then we're going to get into actually a little more serious of a topic as far as religion. Steve and I kind of got into this podcast because I really enjoy the conversations we have on more of a deep level. They're usually pretty intellectual and pretty thought-provoking and stuff. So I kind of want to get a respectful and honest opinion on religion from him and kind of see where we're at with it. We're not going to be bashing anybody or anything like that, but we're just going to kind of discuss how we feel and, how we grew up with it and stuff like that. Steve wants to talk about procrastination a little bit. I know I struggle with that. Sounds like you might as well.
Oh, yeah.
And then a couple fan questions at the end here. So today's episode is going to be really fun, but let's go ahead and kick it off. 2 truths and a lie. So how many did you end up having? 4?
I have 4 rounds, if you want to call them that.
Yeah. Okay. Who do you want to start?
We'll start with me. That's
okay.
Fine.
All right, go ahead.
So, all right, here's you want to go back and forth, or do you want to you do all of mine, or you?
No, we'll go back and forth. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and I'll start. All right, so round 1. First, I never spent a day in high school. Not one day in high school.
You never what?
Spent one day in high school.
Okay.
I played varsity in middle school, varsity football in middle school, and I've never been on a plane.
So I think the lie is the varsity, because you said on a previous episode you haven't done any organized sports. Am I right?
You're right.
But then what do you mean about you never spent a day in high school?
Not one.
Were you homeschooled?
No, I got my GED.
Oh,
so long story short,
I didn't know that.
I didn't know if you did or not.
That's a good one.
I got in some trouble as a youth, and then when it was all said and done, they were like, "You have 0 high school credits, and you're 16 years old. So at this route, you could go to high school.
You're going until you're 20.
Yeah.
Oh,
I would graduate as a grown ass man out there." Or you say you just take this route and get your GED. So I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to do that.
Wow.
But yeah, a lot of people tell me that, there's valuable experiences you learn in high school. I definitely feel that way looking back on some of the lessons that I learned. I think I maybe would have learned earlier in life had I had that experience with being social and all that. Mm-hmm. And, figuring out who I was. But yeah, largely I hear people be like, oh, high school was awful. High school was...
I loved it, man.
You were one of the few. I'm telling you.
I know, but you got to realize it was me and Jerry.
All 4 years.
Yes. we've been best friends since like 6th grade.
That's
dude.
a documentary for your ass.
Yeah. Me and Jerry, like, we're always having fun no matter what.
Then you got lucky.
Yeah.
A lot of people speak of negative things, largely, the overall experience. I heard a lot of people tell me that their senior year was awesome. But freshman and, that second year.
No, I loved it, man.
Not so much.
Because we were both, neither of us were super popular.
Uh-huh.
He's probably a little more popular just because he's more outgoing than I am.
Uh-huh.
But we were both in band, knew a lot of people through that. We were kind of the funny kids, so got along with everybody. But yeah, high school was just fun for me.
All right, man.
Anyway, so mine, I've done over 150 mile an hour on a motorcycle.
Wow.
My favorite vacation spot is Florida. And my favorite animal is a gorilla.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I think I got some good ones.
Yeah. The lie I'm going to have to say is I'm going to have to go with the motorcycle.
Wrong.
You've done 150
I've
on the
done
motorcycle.
163
oh my
on my
God.
old Ninja.
Wow.
Yeah.
I am terrified of even getting on a motorbike, let alone. I think the fastest in a car I've ever even been was 110.
Well, the thing that kind of encouraged me to slow down was, so this was a crotch rocket, right? So you're leaning over, kind of forward, more aerodynamic, right?
Right.
And I started to look up, and the air started to take my helmet, and lift it kind of off my head. It was strapped on, obviously, but it started to lift it off, and I was like, okay, maybe I should probably slow down a little bit.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but I hit 160 and a couple extra up there. So I'd say 163.
Man.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yep. But the lie was my favorite vacation spot's Florida.
Okay.
I fucking hate Florida.
What?
I cannot stand it. Well, I have grandparents there, and you kind of know my family a little bit, and I was just raised to work, man. That's what I was raised to do.
Uh-huh.
And when we go to Florida to see my grandparents, obviously it's really cool, but we work.
Right.
I mowed their yard, which doesn't seem like much, but it's 105 degrees.
Hell yeah.
Clean their pool. We fixed their garage door one year. Clean everything, move stuff, whatever. And it's just what we do as a family. That's just part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I go to Florida and I work. And it's very rarely a vacation.
Right.
So I just...
Yeah, that would definitely...
That and the heat, it just always turned me off.
I'm sure.
I hate Florida. My most hated state, actually.
Oh, man.
Yep.
All right, round 2?
Yep.
So, I was in a car accident at age 7. I shot free throws on the actual Cleveland Cavaliers court. And then I hate gospel music.
Oh, okay. I feel like you were raised on gospel music.
Okay.
Yeah, don't answer that. I would say... What was the first one? About 7
I
years
got in a
old?
car accident at age 7.
I'd have to say the free throws are the lie. On the
No.
Really?
No, I actually shot free throws. I went to a Cavs game in 07. And at halftime...
So you were, what, 18, 19 at the time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. At halftime, the lady comes onto the court and she's like, hey, anybody who wants a free throw shot after the game, they will have ushers that'll usher you down and form a line, and then you can shoot a free throw on the court.
Whoa. That's kind of legendary, dude.
Dude.
Did you make it?
Yeah, I switched it. I put it on both of my sons. I switched it.
Nice.
And when you get down there, I wish somebody had recorded it. I didn't have a camera. I was shooting the free throw. I couldn't record myself. But when you get down there, you expect this sort of amazing feel and look, and no. I mean, it was
just a basketball court.
Yeah, it was dust on the court, and you can see nicks and scratches and cuts all in the paint. And you get to the free throw line, and you look at the basket, and it's just looks like your average normal 15-foot shot, 10 foot in the air. The rims don't look all that special on TV. It looks like a different experience just to be on the court and play on that court that LeBron James plays on,
right,
and dunks on,
right.
It
looks crazy.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Man.
That's
but
awesome.
The accident thing, that's a half truth because I came close. There was a situation which I'm going to tell you this because it's crazy. We were outside playing. Me and my whole family was outside that night, and our house faced a main road, and there's a car. I'm skipping across like our yard, and there's a car. We lived in a brick building, so let me set the scenario for you. And then there's a car coming up the street, and when I seen the car, something in my head just told me that car, watch out for it. And I shit you not, within 3 seconds, that car veered off the road and came towards me, and then veered off and smashed straight into the fucking brick building that I was skipping next to. Thankfully, I was looking because I seen it coming. But yeah, it probably missed me by only like 10, 15 feet.
Wow.
And smacked this wall, probably going 25, 30 miles an hour.
Jeez.
But it was just crazy. Something told me before he even veered off the street to watch out for that fucking vehicle.
That's insane.
Yeah, man. So I wasn't in an accident, but it could have been very.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was 7.
Wow. That's crazy. My turn?
Yeah.
Okay, so me and my dad used to go to Blockbuster every Friday.
Okay.
I was drum captain in high school, and I have 2 brothers and 1 sister.
Oh, wow. 2 brothers, 1 sister, drum captain in high school, Blockbuster every Friday.
Yep.
Which one's the lie?
With Dad.
I'm going to have to say drum captain.
You bitch. You wrong, though.
Oh.
I have 1 brother and 2 sisters.
Yeah. Okay, now that you say it like that, I definitely met your brother. And you told me about the other sister, but I've only met 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably Jen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Round 3.
Yep.
Okay. My first son has asthma. I got my first car at age 24. And I got shot.
Yeah.
Figured you knew that. I wanted to use that, but you already knew that. So for those who are listening, yeah, I've been shot before. I'm gangster like that. I ate that. No, I'm not going to brag about that. That was fucking awful. But the bullet is still in me. I walk around with it every day.
So I think I know that the bullet's still there.
Okay.
What were the other 2?
My first son has asthma.
Okay.
And I got my first car at age 24. I'd
say the car at 24 is the lie, because I know you have asthma, and I don't know, I just have a feeling he would too. 24 is kind of late. I don't know.
The lie is my first son has asthma. My second son has asthma.
Ah, you bastard.
Not my first one.
Damn.
But no, I didn't get my first car until age 24.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I never, actually, I didn't get my driver's license until age, 22.
Okay.
I just never got close to getting to a car.
Right.
So I was like, I'm broke. I'm not about to spend no money on this license or even this permit when I'm not even close to getting the car.
That's true.
So I waited a long time on that. And then, my actually first car, which was actually given to me. And which is crazy because we're going to talk about religion later. I was going to this church at the time. And there's this guy we getting up hanging out with and stuff. And he's like, God put it on my heart to give you my car. This is his only mode of transportation. Mind you.
He gave you his only car?
He gave me his only car, dude. No, he had no other form of transportation, no plans of getting in it. I asked him, dude, you just gonna give me, what are you gonna do? He was like, I'll be alright. Yeah, and it wasn't immediate, but within 2 months of him telling me that, he actually, gave me the title, took me to go get it registered, he did all that with me, and then literally, his friend came and picked him up, and they drove off, and his car was sitting in my driveway. It's my car.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's awesome, though.
It is.
Wow.
It is. And
shout out to that guy.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that a little bit more when we talk about religion, because I kind of want to talk about how I felt about that and why that might have happened.
Okay.
And, it made me question things, a lot.
That definitely would.
Yeah. So.
Wow. Especially with that reasoning, too.
Yeah.
All right, so I lost my virginity at 19.
All right.
I enjoy watching curling in the Olympics, and I can juggle.
curling in the Olympics.
Like on the ice, and they throw.
Okay.
And they got the broom.
Yeah.
And shit. Yeah.
Okay. You enjoy watching that.
I can juggle.
Okay.
And I lost my virginity at 19.
Which one's the lie? You losing your virginity is a lie.
Why do you think it's a lie? Do you think it was earlier or later?
Yeah, earlier.
Well, that's rude. Yeah, that is a lie.
And
you're right. It was a little earlier, but we're not going to talk about that. But yeah, you got it.
All right, man. I've never seen you juggle, but I can picture you doing it.
Yeah, I can juggle.
And the curling thing, I'm not surprised. I mean, I don't know why, but I'm not. Like, you're a sports fan in general. I
don't know why I like it though. To be fair.
Okay.
Just, so I just watch it. Yeah. Every time, no matter who it is, I'll watch. Wow. I'll watch like Russia and Ukraine, like or whatever. Is the Ukraine in Russia?
I don't know. I don't think so, but good. I don't know.
Then it still stands. Yeah.
Okay. So round
4, last one.
I was in a movie. I went to a Jay-Z concert at age 16. And I can't swim.
So I know you can't swim.
Okay. Fuck.
Because we went to...
Damn.
I forget where all about that.
That was Charles Mill.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And we didn't know till we got there.
Right.
We were like, why the fuck did you agree to come?
Right.
You can't swim.
Right.
Like, I don't know. Sounded fun. So, you were in a movie or...
I went to a Jay-Z concert at 16.
I gotta say the Jay-Z concert's a lie.
Okay, yeah.
Is it?
That's the lie.
So, what movie were you in?
It was actually an independent film.
Okay.
That a guy made, and I wish I could find it, but I was only 5 years old, and I'm in a very small scene in the movie.
Okay.
No significant role or anything. I was 5, but my dad's friend, he worked at a place called The Diner. It was obviously a restaurant, and he had a friend that was into that. Like he made his made his own films and everything. And actually sold them, and he needed me for a small part, and I was in it. And I really do wish I could find that movie, but it was called The Living. And I've Googled it. I've searched for it. My dad probably don't even talk to the guy that he worked with at the time no more. That was years ago, man. Like I said, I was only 5, but
that's crazy, though.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Damn.
I'm a fucking certified movie star.
There you go. All right, so last one for me. So I was in gymnastics as a kid.
Oh, shit.
I hate hand sanitizer.
Oh, okay.
And I was attacked by a raccoon when I was 7.
So the lie here, that's a pretty good, that's a hard one. So hate sanitizer, attacked by a raccoon.
And I was in gymnastics.
Man.
I promise only one of those is a lie.
Wow, right. That's the hard part. Fuck. You hate hand sanitizer.
It's true.
Oh, wow.
That's the truth.
You couldn't have been in gymnastics, dude.
I was in gymnastics. I was.
Wow, so you didn't get attacked by a raccoon.
I did not get attacked by a raccoon.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, when I was a kid, I was in gymnastics, and like, I don't know why.
I never would have thought that. A guess or nothing,
with my action figures and stuff as a kid, I would always just kind of throw them up and make them flip.
Okay.
And do flips, and like, I enjoyed that. I still watch gymnastics and the Olympics and whenever it's on. But this was when I was like 6 or 7, maybe something like that.
Okay, so fairly young, yeah.
And I did it for a year and a half. And we're obviously little kids, right?
Yeah.
But me, like I said, I wanted to go flip and I wanted to go do 720s and 10-8, like all this stuff. But I'm with other 5-6-year-olds, and the only thing we really ended up learning after like a year was a cartwheel. Pretty much. Like there was a couple other things, but it was basically how to use the equipment and how to get on like the pommel horse and kind of things like that. we weren't allowed to get on the rings during class, so I always stayed over to get on the rings and kind of try to do stuff like that. Never really tried the uneven bars because I was a kid. You know, they don't have a kid's version of that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, I actually love gymnastics. You know, growing up, one of my favorite things was skateboarding, which involves that. Freestyle motocross, which involves that. And one of the things we did kind of to pass time was trampoline. And I always loved flipping and stuff like that. Going to the pool.
All those would definitely help.
All I did at the pool was flip and stuff off the diving board. That's all I did. I didn't even care about the high dive because I wanted to flip and stuff.
Right.
Yep.
Oh, shit, man.
Fun fact.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Cool. So, actually, that brings us into our Action Stars topic because of all that stuff. You know that thing that, like, Jackie Chan used to do when he'd get, like, hit and he'd fall on his back and he'd flip up to his feet?
Yeah.
I used to be able to do that.
What?
Swear. The only person that still knows that is Jerry.
Okay.
Because nobody else was around then. But, like, during all of middle school and before and all that, I could do that flip up thing, whatever you want to whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Yeah. I used to practice all the time as a kid to do all that stuff.
That's wild, dude.
Yep. I, for real, wanted to be in gymnastics and still like it. I'm just fat now. But, yeah, so next topic here. Who are some of your favorite movie stars as far as action flicks go?
So, when we decided to discuss this,
it was like on like a day's notice.
Yeah, and my movie game is really weak, and I realize that more and more and more.
Okay.
It really is, but I do have a list of people, and if you wouldn't consider them action...
okay. All right.
I mean, it's...
I'll let you know if your people bullshit.
So, yeah, I'll go first.
Okay.
In no particular order. Like, this is my favorite ones, though. First person I thought of was for sure Denzel Washington, man.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Denzel is a legend. He is so versatile. I've always respected his ability to play. It seems like he can do whatever role he can put his mind to.
Denzel is like Morgan Freeman, though. Denzel plays Denzel. Denzel doesn't play roles. Denzel plays Denzel.
Yeah. He's
but
amazing.
He's a badass.
Yes.
Sure.
And, you know, he was a badass definitely in Training Day. Love that movie. And Book of Eli. That's one of my favorite.
Book of Eli was really good.
Yes, better than I thought it would be.
Really good, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good flick. Samuel L's on my list.
Okay.
And, you know, Pulp Fiction. I don't know if you consider that an action film.
I mean, I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah. And he was also in SWAT. You ever seen SWAT?
I feel like I have, but I don't know.
It's a movie about...
The SWAT team?
Yeah, but it's a lot more than that. I'll let you watch it. Anybody that's seen SWAT, let me know. It's a great flick.
Okay.
If you haven't seen it, it's one worth checking out. How could you not put Will Smith on the list?
Okay.
That I was looking
Yours
at.
are vastly different than mine.
Yeah.
But I like it.
I Am Legend.
I Am Legend's great.
Yes.
How do you feel about iRobot?
That was my other movie of his. It's probably in my top 4 or 5 Will Smith movies.
Somebody at work last week said they hated iRobot. I almost lost my job, man. I almost started swinging.
That is, yeah. I would be interested in hearing why.
I don't know if I've seen a movie more than iRobot.
Really?
For real. That's probably my most watched movie ever.
Yeah, that's a good flick.
Wicca Wild Wild West. That's probably one of my favorite movies too. I had to get that in there.
I'm gonna have to go with Jet Li.
Yep.
I loved Unleashed. That's probably my favorite movie of his.
Yep.
But
is that the one where there's like multi-dimensions and there's...
No, that's the one where he had the owner guy and every time he took the thing off his neck, he went bonkers.
Yeah.
He just made you want to fight from just sitting there watching that movie.
Yep.
And The Kiss of the Dragon. I really like that movie too.
Yeah.
And like I struggled to catch a fifth one. And hear me on my reasoning for why I put him on my 5 favorite. Okay. I'm gonna have to go with Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Oh man.
Now to be honest, I haven't really the only movie I haven't seen a movie of his since it's been a long time. You ever heard of the movie Walking Tall?
Yeah.
I like that movie with him. Fast 5 was probably the last Rock film I watched.
Yeah. I would agree.
But I don't know. I feel like a lot of his movies are like kind of the same. Like they kind of have the same, not to say he's a bad actor, but I think he could take on more versatile roles. But his time in WWFE, that's entertainment, that's action. Yeah. I don't care.
Okay.
That guy was phenomenal. Give you that. I'll give you that. He was my favorite wrestler for a little bit. He was definitely one of my draws to it. The Attitude Era, and I was talking with my roommate earlier about this. Like, the kids was drawn to wrestling not because it wasn't about the wrestling. It was about the badass characters.
Yeah.
Like, we emulated and we wanted to be we wanted to be Stone Cold. We wanted to be The Rock.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We wanted to be Triple H.
Stone Cold and Goldberg were always my favorites. Oh my God,
yeah. Yep. And it wasn't because they can do sweet moves in the ring. It was who these people were as
badasses.
Yep. And we want to be tough and hard like that and beat people up like that.
Yep.
And that kind of went away when they went public and tried to go all PG.
Yeah, and then look what we turned into.
But and I was also telling my roommate, I don't know if you ever watched a whole lot of WWF. I'm gonna call it that because that's what it was back then.
World Wildlife Foundation. Yeah. Yep. Fuck those guys. Right. Your panda ass logo.
If I'm Vince, I would have thought that from dude. I'm sorry. I would have took it. I probably would have lost.
Yeah.
But
you gotta go down swinging.
Yeah, exactly. Rocky used to always do this thing where. And what made it amazing is that he would get you with it every single week. Like he does it so much, yet you can't predict when he's going to do it. And it catches you off guard every single time. He'll have a dialogue. You know how somebody's usually standing in the ring, somebody's on the ramp, or they're both in the ring and they're talking to each other.
A little stare down.
Yeah, and the promos and shit. And Rock would always ask the other guy a question. And within 2 or 3 seconds, he's like, it doesn't matter what you think. And the crowd would go ballistic. It would piss off the other guy so bad because, he does it all the time. But nobody was ever able to be like...
They always walk into it.
And as you just following the conversation as a watcher, and then when he hits you with that, it's like, should have shown his little bitch.
Right.
But, like I said, there's so many action stars out there. I feel like there's just so many people I haven't seen enough of that probably would have made my list.
Yeah.
I was just looking at people that have been in all they do is action movies. And it's like, I've never seen, it's kind of not a fair topic to discuss with me almost because I don't have very many, but I'm very interested in your list, sir.
So mine, like I said, is way different than yours is.
That's why we do this.
I think we have one similarity. I think you said him. Maybe. I don't know if I'm just thinking of stuff. But so my top 5, once again, no particular order. Gotta go with Arnold, man. Okay. Arnold's up there with Terminator, with Predator. Wrong. Predator is probably one of my favorite, I guess, made up. I guess they're kind of villains, but not like
you could definitely say
made up character type thing. I love Predators. They're so badass. But yeah, that Terminator, everything he's ever been in is super cheesy and great, and I love it. Next one, I honestly didn't think he was going to make my list, but the more I think about it, he did. Fucking Sylvester Stallone.
Okay.
Yep. Because I was thinking, obviously, probably the first thing you think of is Rocky.
Always.
Right. But I was like, I don't know if Rocky can make my list. But then you think of Rambo. Oh, he was also Rambo.
Yes.
So between both of those,
wow. I mean,
you're Rocky and you're Rambo.
Right.
You gotta make the list.
Yeah.
You gotta make the list.
Tough to argue with that.
Next one, just kind of mentioned a minute ago, Jackie Chan.
Okay.
Not that he's the most badass dude, but like I said, I've always been into kind of gymnastics, and actually, my grandpa used to be a boxer.
Okay.
So we grew up kind of boxing each other and, just kind of, I've always known how to punch and fight and stuff like that just because that's how I grew up. But Jackie Chan was always one of my role models as a kid. He was always so nice to people, didn't want to hurt anybody, but still fucked you up.
Right.
And he flew through ladders and just off of everything. And there was kind of a gymnastics aspect to it.
For sure, yeah.
So between both of those, I always loved
and the fact that he always did his own stunts, no matter what they were, is amazing.
Yep.
Like, that's a thrill in itself,
And Yeah, you'll watch like the bloopers, and he'll try to go through this fucking ladder, and you'll see him break like 3 fingers, and he's like, gotta do it again.
Right, laughing and just, all right, I'm sorry, let's shoot it again.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep. Next one, it's not even, this guy, it's not even, his movies, in my opinion, were pretty terrible. I might get some backlash for that, but the dude himself was just a badass. Like, you're talking about wrestling badasses. This is like a real life badass to that aspect. You ready?
Yep.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah.
He would fuck people up in real life.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. That was cool.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he would fuck you up. And like I said, I don't really even remember any of the movies specifically because they were all kind of blended together.
And the action scene, though, you see him in where he's fighting, dude.
Man. He would fuck people up.
You could just tell, like, he's not to be fucked
Between
with.
him and Chuck Norris, that's kind of how, like, in my opinion, kicking people got cool.
Right.
Between Jean-Claude and fucking Chuck Norris with his dad jeans. Like, Yeah, so Jean-Claude, growing up, once again, just not the best actor, but loved his movies. And then the last one I think you mentioned, I could be wrong, Bruce Lee. Did you mention Bruce Lee?
No, I said Jet Li.
Jet Li, okay. But yeah, Bruce Lee for me too. I mean, I guess after, what's that new movie with Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio? The Hollywood, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Oh, I'm not familiar with that. Okay.
It came out probably 3 months ago, 6 months ago, something like that. I don't remember.
Like I said, man, movie game was weak.
But anyway, the reason I bring it up is because I guess Bruce Lee was kind of portrayed in that movie in kind of a negative light, and kind of like people like kind of portrayed him as not really the badass that he was, but he got beat up in this movie and stuff.
Really? Okay.
And I guess it was based on true events or something, and I don't know. And now I'm hearing a lot about how Bruce Lee might not have been all this badass, but he was a great actor and did a lot for martial arts, but he doesn't have many street fights and like...
Gotcha.
You know, so I don't know kind of the background that I thought I did, and I haven't really researched that too much either, but just growing up in general, I always loved Bruce Lee. That's probably my dad's favorite kind of action movie star.
Uh-huh.
He always just like, like when we're boxing, like I said, we shadow box all the time and slap box.
Yeah.
And he'd always be Bruce Lee. Like, he wouldn't say it, but he'd be Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
You know? So Bruce Lee's definitely up there for me. But I firmly believe that my 5 can kick your 5's ass.
Yeah, I ain't arguing with you there. Denzel, Samuel's old ass.
Right.
Will Smith's old ass, yeah.
And
Jet Li will knock all of yours out, though. One by one, he would.
Arnold would kill Jet Li.
No.
Stallone, Jet Li could probably kill Stallone.
You gotta catch Jet Li.
He could probably fuck up Jackie Chan. Jet Li versus Jean-Claude.
Ooh.
And then you're probably...
Jet's got 2 out of 3.
You're probably right, though. Jet Li could probably beat up Bruce Lee. I have a feeling... I have a feeling he could, because he's more of like... I feel like it's more practical fighting.
Right.
Bruce Lee was a little more... maybe scripted is what it kind of feels like.
Right.
Premeditated.
I could definitely see what you're saying there.
So, all right. You might have me on Jet Li. But Jean-Claude versus Jet Li. Chime in, guys. Who you think would win? Jean-Claude Van Damme or Jet Li? In their primes. We'll say in their primes.
Yeah, I'd pay to see that for sure.
That'd be awesome.
Oh my God.
That'd be awesome. All right, man. So we're going to make a hard left turn here into our next topic. And that's going to be of religion. This is going to be, like I said, we're going to keep it respectful. We're going to be honest about our views and stuff like that. Not trying to hurt anybody's feelings or anything like that, but just, maybe trying to give a little perspective on us and our thoughts and, maybe some insights, whether you agree or disagree. I love having this debate. And it's not really a debate, it's just a discussion, because I'm not trying to prove anybody wrong or anything like that. I just want to kind of know where you stand on it, where I stand on it, and, obviously, guys, if you're listening, feel free to chime in, send us messages with all that. But The reason I brought it up is because I was listening to another podcast. I'm not going to lie, I kind of stole this from another podcast. But the host asked his guest kind of how he was introduced to religion growing up and how he feels about it now. So I'd like to get your opinion on that. What's kind of the first memories of religion or, kind of something in that aspect, and how do you feel about it now? Anything that turned you on to it, turned you off of it? Really, anything you want to discuss in, as far as that aspect?
For me, I'm going to have to take it all the way back to, I think a lot of people, especially, in the low-income area where I grew up at, you could definitely say there was always some sort of people that came around and was like, hey, we had vans that came around, drove around our neighborhood for any kids wanting to go to church. Okay. Spread the word. Hey, I'll be driving around this time, and then again at this time, and then they get to know the parents. Like, well, hey, if you don't want to come, have your kids come to church. But I hate using the word forced, but I felt like it was forced. It wasn't something that I actually wanted to do. I never really said that, hey, yeah, let's go to church. If I ever did, I had other motive. I was there for something else, not necessarily for the message.
So did you go with, like, in these vans and stuff to the church?
Yeah, sometimes. They'd have food. They'd have, like,
they got food. They got Steve in the van.
I'm saying, yeah, I'm not gonna turn down some hot dogs and chips and some cookies.
Ain't that the truth?
All I gotta listen to is this for an hour, and then okay, fine, Yeah. And a lot of times it was just something to do, but I want to take it from that to kind of the older I got, the more I wondered, for me, I'm just going to go out and say it and then feed off of this.
Okay.
I believe that there is something greater than us out there. I believe. And even like an almighty being, even if it's just one, thing, I do not believe in Christianity, though. Meaning, like, I don't believe that there's a God and a Jesus that came to earth and these 10 commandments. And, not to say, because at the end of the day, I realize that nobody knows the truth. And the thing that, I feel that people shouldn't do so much is try to force their opinion. Because a lot of Christians will say, like, hey, well, the Bible says this and the Bible says that, respectfully, like, you're entitled to believe what you want to believe. Mm-hmm. However, I feel like there's a lot of things that can be disputed about this book you speak of.
Right.
And then I think the older I got, the more I just decided to think for myself and take my own experiences and what I've been through and kind of form my own opinion of, what I believe. And I think today I can say that, I respect all religions. I did take a world religion course when I went to Ashland in the one semester I did go, Ashland University. And a lot of it I forgot, but I think at the end of it, I ended up taking away, like, there's a lot of different ways that people worship this being that they can't see or communicate with directly. It's just people have their different ways of doing it. If there is a God, we all answer to the same one.
Regardless.
Yeah. So I think really it's kind of up to you how you choose to, what you choose to believe about, what's after, our time on this planet. So
to you, there's some type of, in some sense, some type of God-like figure.
Yes, and I believe that because I can look at the earth and appreciate the beauty of it, the universe, and like, this is amazing. Just the fact that, look at this tree outside this window right here. Like, you know what I mean? How did that come to be? Like, it could be a random a result of chance.
I will agree there's so much here that is supposedly, by chance and random and like, if the world was 10 more degrees, we would all fry or whatever,
Right,
I can see what you mean.
It just seems to be this super delicate balance of things that had to happen for us to even talk right here like we are right now.
There's almost too many outcomes that aren't this one. Right. Kind of reminds me of like Avengers when he said, I've seen however many outcomes, 2 billion or whatever he said, and they asked him, well, how many did we win? And he said 1.
Right.
Because there all these outcomes, all these different scenarios, and this is what we get. Mm-hmm. It is pretty amazing. For myself, I've never really been a religious person. I was kind of blessed, though, in the sense of how I grew up, because my mom was raised Christian, and she didn't necessarily, go to church as far as I remember and stuff, but, kind of practiced the faith a little bit, and then my dad's actually an atheist.
Oh, wow.
And it was cool to see growing up because they never clashed about that. Everybody's got arguments, right. All that kind of stuff. Every married couple or couple in general has some arguments, but that wasn't anything that ever stood between them. I was always given the option growing up. I specifically remember my dad saying, hey, I'll take you to church. He said, I'm not going to go in, but if you want to go, I'll take you and drop you off, and I'll come pick you up, and that's perfectly fine if you want to go. Uh-huh. And I did a couple times. My mom's whole side of the family is pretty religious. I'm pretty sure all of them are religious. Actually, I don't think there might be 1 or 2 that's not, but everybody's got crosses in their house or cross tattoos or necklaces or whatever. Mm-hmm. They're all very Christian. And like I said, on my dad's side, a lot of them are religious too, but like I said, they're in Florida. Some of them are in Chicago and stuff like that. So it was really my mom's side versus my dad kind of thing in that aspect. And I went a couple times. I've actually been baptized. Oh, wow. Because I didn't know what it was when I was, I would say, probably 10 or 11. I was with my best friend at the time, Brian Byrne. Back in Lexington. This was, it had to be 3rd grade, 4th grade, right around there, right? And I'm going with him every Sunday because we're really good friends. I always went to his house on Saturdays. He had an awesome house. We played Nerf guns and all this stuff, and, so, but the cost of doing that is every Sunday we'd wake up and go to church. And I went a couple times, and I specifically remember one time, we were closing our eyes for a prayer or whatever, and the pastor said, if anybody in here has not been baptized, please raise your hand. Uh-huh. And I didn't, because I didn't know what that meant, but Brian's next to me kind of nudging me, like, hey, raise your hand, raise your hand. I was like, oh, okay. So I raised my hand. I'm 9 years old, 10 years old, whatever. Yeah. And I raised my hand, didn't know what I was doing. Didn't really even, after he said, well, hey, let's baptize you, or whatever, never really understood what was going on. I didn't understand the concept of it. Right. Until actually a year or 2 later. I was upset at him at the time because I was embarrassed. Right. But I didn't know what just happened, really. I don't know what denomination that was or whatever. I don't know. Yeah. Because I'm a little kid. So, that's a fun fact. This atheist has been baptized. Yeah. But to me, man, I was blessed. Like I said, with growing up in that household, I had the option to, like you said, think for myself. And I just always felt out of place when I was there. I still feel out of place if I ever go into a church for a wedding or whatever. I don't know why, but I think it's the opposite of what other people feel when they go into church. People feel warm and, welcomed and all that. And I feel very different. I'm not a very anxiety-ridden type person, but when I go into a church, I get anxiety really bad. Okay. And I don't know why. And people can say, that's Jesus talking to you. And he might be, but it's never anything that I wanted to consistently do. It's nothing I could, even as a kid, really put all my eggs in that basket or anything like that. I never really bought into what they were saying. But I definitely understand the importance of it to a lot of people. And like you said, I have no issue with any religion or any people that are religious or anything like that. I just never really got into it. It's just not for me.
Yeah, I can see a lot of what you said there. And back to my point, I wanted to talk a bit. Remember earlier I said I will come back to it in the religion segment. Right. About, something in my brain. Something told me, hey, watch out for that vehicle. Mm-hmm. Was that divine intervention?
Right.
I can't think of anything right now, but I've had instances where, I've had like something greater than me, looked out for me. What that is, I don't know. And sometimes I don't think I will know until, I pass. But, like the time I got shot, for example, mm-hmm. like where the bullet went in and went into my hip, they said an inch in either direction, I would have either bled out or been shitting and pissing through a bag. And like I said, it's still there. So they said the trajectory that it went in at, it didn't hit any major arteries, didn't hit my bladder, intestines, nothing. And it's in a spot where they can leave it there and it probably won't move.
That's crazy.
It was more risky to go in and try to remove the bullet than to leave it where it was at.
Wow.
What do you call that?
I don't know.
I owe my life to something.
Right.
I owe my health, to something. Right. And, there's days where I feel like I should be trying to figure out what that is and, be a little more appreciative of it. But I don't know where to go with that because I feel, like I said, it's just me thinking for myself mm-hmm. and for my own opinion about, what happens and after this life. Because at the end of the day, I think everybody in every religion, they want to go to some sort of paradise.
Right.
And that's what it's about. It's about figuring out what they have to do with their life in order to do that.
See, and that right there has actually, that little kind of snippet has always made me into me. And the reason I say that is because I've always been slightly jealous of people that are religious.
Oh, really?
I have. I really have. And it's because every Sunday or Wednesday or whenever, they go to a church, they're part of a community, they believe in something great, and they usually leave there feeling great and happy and confident that, like you said, they're going to go to heaven or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And I've always been jealous of that optimism. Because what people don't realize when you're an atheist, especially as a kid, because I realized pretty early on, early teens at least, that I was an atheist. I never really claimed it. I always said I was agnostic, saying I don't know, I don't know. But I knew where I was leaning, and that was just kind of the safe way to kind of more or less get me through high school and stuff.
Avoid all the...
avoid all the drama and the conflicts and all that kind of stuff. But, yeah, I've always been jealous of them because, to me, it was difficult for me to find a meaning of why we're here. Think of being 12, 13 years old, going through puberty, that whole time sucks in general. Yes. But then thinking, well, there's nothing else out there. What's the purpose of this life?
Yeah.
Right? What's the purpose of all this if there's no afterlife? And I'm not saying there's not, but to me, I never grasped onto that concept. So as a 12, 13-year-old kid, I'm like, well, why am I being good? If in that aspect, if the only thing I'm worried about are laws and going to jail, anything other than that, it's just on my own conscience.
Right.
It doesn't matter at the end of the day. And I went through a little phase, nothing crazy or anything, but little rebellious teenager phase or whatever. But the outcome after that is I realized I have to be good for me. My parents raised me a certain way, and it's always been an internal struggle because there's no reason to be a good person in that aspect. That's what people think, and that's what I thought as a young kid as well. Well, what's the purpose? But now I realize it's for me.
Right.
I'm a good person for me.
Right. So that you can live with yourself.
Right. And once you come to that conclusion, kind of once you come full circle, and once again, in my eyes, kind of think there's no afterlife, there's no necessarily reason that we're here.
Right.
It's kind of a dark thought, but after you get past that, it's a really happy and bright thought. Because this is the only time I have. Right?
Yeah.
There's nothing else after this in my eyes. So, it's actually a Ricky Gervais quote. I'm probably going to say it wrong, but he says something along the lines of, everybody is always angry at an atheist, or everybody always says an atheist thinks they have nothing to live for. Right? He's like, that's not right. He said, we have nothing to die for.
Right. That's
so it's not that we're okay with death and like whatever.
Yeah.
It's comes to a point where now I don't want to die because that is the end.
Right.
So how are you going to live each day like you don't want to die? Right. So it's kind of a whole full circle kind of sobering time, and it took me a long time to get there, but it's a different perspective, and I don't know, I just always kind of came to that conclusion on my own, which is good. It was a natural thing. I never was forced either way.
Right, yeah.
Any final thoughts on that?
Just to touch a bit on what you said about being good for you and your own, personal sanity, I guess. I get a lot of people at work that tell me, honestly, it's uncomfortable because a lot of times people are like, you're a God-fearing man, aren't you? Or,
right.
you believe, you're a saved Christian, aren't you? And honestly, a lot of times I just say because I don't want to have that conversation at work. I don't want you to stop. You know how those people can be sometimes where they stop you for 30 minutes and they want to pray and all this stuff.
Don't touch me.
And not to and I feel even guilty doing that sometimes because I'm not being honest about how I feel, and I shouldn't have to hide stuff like that. But you know how that goes. People always say afterwards, like, I can tell because you're very calm. You have this very calm sense about you, or you're a genuinely good person. You just seem to have this sort of, and I'm like, why do I have to be a Christian?
To have morals.
Yeah, to be a good dude. Like, that kind of makes me, I don't want to say mad, but it's kind of like, like, just because it make it seem like if you don't believe in, a certain religion or something, somebody's going to view you as a bad person.
Right.
And I firmly believe, I think I'm living proof that you can be a good person and not take on any sort of religion. You still want to help people. You can still want to, make a positive impact in people's lives and, changing for the better. But a lot of people hit me with, oh, you must be saved or you must be a Christian. I know you go to church often, you just seem to have this, like, no, I don't. Right. I haven't been to church in years, but that's just who I am, and I'm going to be who I am. I don't need any sort of religion to keep me sort of like in check or to have, like you said, to have morals. So,
and that took me a long time to find out. Like I said, I was struggling with it. I was like, why should I be a good person?
Right.
Like, what's the point of being a good person?
Yeah.
If I can get away from it legally and it doesn't hurt myself internally, like mentally, fuck it. Right. But then I started to realize it does affect me mentally when I start acting a certain way or being a little extra mean or whatever, trip somebody, whatever it might be.
Right.
And I realized, like you said, religion doesn't make you a good person. It might help you have a better outlook, like a more positive outlook. But like I said, at the end of the day, I think I have that similar outlook as far as optimism and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I just had a completely different route to get there, and mine is much different than most people, and some people it might be very similar to, but we both have great kind of attitudes towards life in general, with vastly different religious points of view,
right?
And there's nothing wrong with that. We can coexist. We've all seen those bumper stickers, but for real, we can coexist, and it's going to be fine. And, I don't think we've ever had, like, a real in-depth conversation about religion and maybe how we got there and stuff.
No, man.
We've known each other for 6 years.
Wow, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, man.
And, I've always liked your opinion on things, so I wanted to throw that in there and put it on the record so you can't take it back. And, just kind of get it out there. like we always say, if you guys have any opinions on this or feedback or want to share your talking points or anything like that, feel free to hit us up. But yeah, man, I know you wanted to talk about procrastination a little bit.
Yeah. So earlier this week, I've been really trying to focus my efforts on getting more done in the day. And what that means exactly. How do I go about doing that? And then a lot of it is making sacrifices, sacrificing an hour of sleep, sacrificing, maybe playing that game of 2K, sacrificing, that time you want to spend with somebody you haven't spent the time with in a while. But then I also notice myself when I don't have any of those things to do or not feeling obligated to handle anything, and there's things that I have, there's goals that I want to achieve, and I'm just laying around.
Right.
And I'll just lay there.
Yep.
I'll just lay there. And I'm like, well, yesterday I couldn't wait to have some free time so I could practice doing this or do that.
And you don't do it.
Yeah. And then I'm laying there like, well, dude, this is the perfect fucking opportunity. Why are you just laying here? Why don't you have that, oh, shit, I could get up and,
right.
You know what I mean?
Get so much done.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that, you may use to our listeners, some of the things that you may use to help combat that a little bit. I did do a little bit of research on it. A lot of things talked about how you need to recognize why you procrastinate on it. Like, get to the root cause of it. Is it because you find it boring?
Right, you don't want to do it.
Yes. Yeah. Is it because it's going to take a long time? Is it because it's something new and you just, like you said, it's like you're just uncomfortable with it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I've been trying to find ways to get to the root cause of why I'm not doing something. Mm-hmm. And just like counteracting that with a positive thought. Yeah. So, like, for example, yesterday, I've been trying to learn piano. I bought this $400 piano, keyboard thing, whatever you want to call it, back in February, and was super dumb eager to get it. Couldn't wait to get that tax money so I can buy it. And a lot of times I'm laying on my bed and I'll just look at it. Why is that? You know what I mean? And I think a lot of it is like the actual have to get up and sit and like, okay, actually trying to learn something.
You got to go through the struggle.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to do that.
Right. And I think a lot of the things that we do, we don't really, it's not that bad once we start doing it. And it's remembering that.
Yep.
The hardest part is actually starting. Like, once you get into the groove of it, you're having fun. You know what I mean? You remember the reasons. Oh, yeah, I like to do this because of this. And I like to do this because of that. And not necessarily with just your hobbies and things that you want to learn, like actual like chores.
Right.
Your house is dirty. Like, you know what I mean? And it's got to get cleaned. What do you use to help you jolt yourself into doing that? Outside of like, oh shit, my so-and-so's coming over. I better clean my house up.
Right.
If nobody's coming over for a year, what do you use to kind of, get up and do the things you need to do, whether you want to do them or not?
So as far as actually, like to add on to the piano thing, I'm pretty sure you knew this. I used to play guitar. Played guitar for probably 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
Then moved on to drums. But I'd say year and a half, every 2 years, I'll go on Facebook and buy another guitar.
Okay.
And I'll bring it home and I'll play it. And I'm like, this is awesome. I miss it.
Yeah.
And I'll play it for about 2 days. And then it just sits there.
Yeah.
It just does. And it's half of the reason is because I'm not as good as I used to be.
Uh-huh.
And playing it reminds me of that.
Okay.
But you have to play it to get better.
Right.
So I feel you on that. As far as what I use to kind of motivate myself to get something done, I mean, I know myself and I have to reward myself.
Okay.
So I'll say, hey, if you clean this room, then, you can take the motorcycle out later.
Okay.
But I won't let myself take the motorcycle out if I didn't clean the room.
Okay.
I've also realized, as far as why I procrastinate, is because I like the challenge if there's a deadline. So it's kind of another game I play too. Like, It was Saturday. It was just me and Harper. Mm-hmm. Jessica was at work, and I just wanted to go to the gas station. I wanted to see her, kind of surprise her at work with Harper, get a couple Red Bull, and then come home before the Ohio State game.
Okay.
Right? Ohio State game starts at noon. Guess what time I left, or we left, to go get Red Bull?
11:52.
Not quite that far, but yeah, it was like 11:30.
Okay,
and it's like, okay, well, now I have just enough time to get there and back, get what I need done, and come back in perfect time for the game. I don't know if you've noticed this, but I've always enjoyed timing. I've always liked to time things out perfectly. I don't know why, I just always have. And when I have a deadline like that, okay, I got to do this, this, and this, and then I got to be back by noon. Somehow, and I think you've noticed, somehow I leave at the perfect time to get home right at the perfect time.
Yeah.
Don't know how. And it's not something I'm necessarily conscious of, you know, like, it's nothing I'm like, okay, well, I need to leave at 11:42, and I'll get there at 11:46. It'll take 5 minutes to get my Red Bull and talk a minute, and then I gotta get Harper in the car seat again. That's another 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. And then it's another 4 minutes back home, and that'll take us right to noon by the time we get upstairs. Like, I don't think that that detailed. But somehow my brain kind of knows that and knows when to leave. And I don't know, just as far as like tips and tricks that I use is I give myself a deadline. Like, you know, hey, I want to get this room cleaned before Jess gets home, right? Mm-hmm. She gets off at 2:30. She's going to be home at 2:45. I need to start cleaning by 1:30, right? Because I'm going to go slow. I'm going to procrastinate a little bit while I'm doing it. Yeah. But as far as, like, tricks to kind of make myself do stuff, like I said, I just got to play games with myself. It's very difficult for me to just say, hey, let's clean this room. It's, hey, let's clean this room and then you can do this. Or it's, hey, let's clean this room before 1 o'clock. Those are my things. I got to reward myself somehow, even if it's something small. Or I have to have a deadline and kind of challenge myself to get everything done before that deadline.
Okay. So the reward thing, that's a lot of people use that, but that doesn't work for me.
Really?
I've never known why. Like, I've intentionally been like, well, you know, hey, get up and do this for an hour. Just for an hour. Or get up and go to the gym. You don't want to go to the gym today. Right. But get up, go do it, and after you're done, you get to have pizza tonight.
Right.
So I'll get up and I'll do it, and I'll get home, and I'll have my pizza, but I won't.
You won't think of it as a reward?
Exactly. It's not, it's like, well, okay.
We did it.
Yeah. Woo. Right. All right. And then the next day, I don't feel, I guess it's a positive that I don't feel worse.
But it doesn't do anything for you.
Yeah, but it doesn't make me feel, it doesn't give me that drive to keep going.
Right.
So, and I know that's a huge thing. You would think, like, some sort of reward would, you know. Now, here's the thing, though. Let's say you told me, hey, you get your ass up and go to the gym for 3 hours today. I'll buy you a pizza. That will motivate me way more than me telling myself I will buy myself a pizza.
Is it the money? Or is it that somebody else is giving you a reward? Or is it the cash value? Or is it
I haven't thought enough about it. I have to get back because thinking about it right now.
Now, okay, so what about this? So what if I said, hey, you got to go to the gym for 3 hours, and if you do that, I'll clean the apartment.
Oh, yeah, I'm on that.
But there's no cash value in that. So it's about the reward then.
Yeah. But I can't reward myself. It won't work. I would feel a lot more motivated to do it if you said it.
Right.
But if I gave it to myself, it's kind of like, eh.
So you need an ROI. You need a return on investment. You need something.
I guess you can put it that way.
Something in return from not yourself. But why?
Yeah.
Why do you think
I have to?
Because I don't think, just from me knowing you and stuff, it's not for validation.
No,
it's not anything like that.
No.
So why is it that somebody else needs to reward you?
I don't know. I can't answer that right here. That's something I have to think about for a little bit, because that's a great point. You know, I can do the exact. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about it, and I'll answer that next week. How about that?
Okay.
We'll answer that next week. We'll bring it back. And anybody listening, if you got some feedback on, what I just said and why that don't make no fucking sense, let me know.
No,
please.
I mean it, but
yeah,
that's
but
the thing.
You get what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't.
It makes sense, and it makes sense because that's the reality for a lot of people, and partially myself too. But why? That's the part that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But we'll give it a week. We'll think on it. And we'll run it back.
All right.
Last thing here, we got 2 fan questions. We're going to try to do these a little quick. The episode's running pretty long, but oh well. Great conversation so far. First one here is from another Adam, actually. He submitted this. Where do you think Prince rates all time as a musician? He said, I believe he's on the Mount Rushmore of all time. His guitar mastery is very underrated. Let me know what you think. So, you want to start or you want me to start?
I'll start. Honestly, I don't have a... First of all, what genre would you consider? Pop? His music?
Yeah, I think you would have to, I guess.
Yeah, he's got... Man, I'm going to get murdered for this.
Maybe soul? I don't know.
I can't think of one Prince song.
Purple Rain. That's all I know, though.
Okay.
I'm with you.
I can't think of one Prince song that you could play right now, and I'll be like, oh, shit, and I'll start nodding my head to it.
Right.
I know Prince songs. My parents were huge fans of it, him and, his work. But me personally, I've never personally been moved. But to answer your question, I know he's very, revered as a musician, and, but I honestly can't even speak on the subject. I would just have to take the claim at face value, because I don't see anybody saying like, oh no, he was garbage or trash or
right.
But personally, his type of music is not something that I would seek out. And maybe, like I said, I'll probably get murdered for that. Like, what the hell are you talking about? But it is what it is, man.
Hey, if you're getting murdered, we're both getting murdered.
All right.
Because I'm with you. I mean, for me, like I said, I grew up playing guitar from like 8 to 13 years old, give or take a little bit. Played guitar all through there. More focused on like Metallica and Jimi Hendrix and kind of stuff like that. But I never really gave Prince many spins either. My mom liked Cher and kind of things like that. Cher and Janis Joplin was huge with her. People like that. And my dad liked Black Sabbath and Iron Maiden and, Ozzy and a little bit of AC/DC, kind of things like that. Led Zeppelin. He also liked Barry Manilow.
Okay.
But some Neil Young, stuff like that. So Prince was never really in my house. Like, my mom liked Prince, but my mom never really listened to music all that much. It was me and Dad listening to music the majority of the time. So, I would, like you said, I would probably put him on the all-time list just out of respect.
And the acclaim that, you hear.
And he's, he's kind of like the Elton John, the Michael Jackson of that world that he came from, and just a huge megastar that neither of us unfortunately know too much about. So I don't think I would say I would put him on the Mount Rushmore, but that's just me because we have different tastes. But as far as skill level, I can see why people would put him there for sure. Yeah, sorry, man. I wish we had a little more research, but we trust you.
And thanks for the question, regardless, man.
Last one here is from Courtney. Now, this one's going to be interesting.
All right.
Once again, going to try to keep it somewhat short. But she said, if women could only conceive during an orgasm, how many people would be in the world? So I'll start on this one because I think it could go either way.
Okay.
Because mathematically. Okay.
All right.
So for conception, people say generally 1 or 2 days a month, right? Give or take, something like that.
Yeah.
How many times can a woman orgasm in a month?
As many times as they want to.
A lot, right? So mathematically, you're more likely to get pregnant when you orgasm in that aspect because there's way more of them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, women would be very limited on who they would let give them an orgasm.
Yeah.
So, either way, I think it would kind of cancel each other out because there's going to be those women that have a ton during the month, and then there's going to be those women that hold off to make sure they're not getting pregnant and make sure you're worthy and, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
So, that's what I was saying earlier. It could kind of go either way because there could be way more people, or it could be, severely less people, a surplus of everything. We would not have to worry about anything. There'd be no traffic. Like, it could go both ways.
Yeah, if I had to choose one side, I would say there would be less people.
Okay.
I feel like not a woman,
Clearly.
and but I think there's some questions too I would have. Okay, so like, does it have to?
Now, I did ask, was it every orgasm? Or only during orgasm? And she did clarify that it is only, so it's not every orgasm.
Okay.
But it can only happen if they orgasm. I've said orgasm like 20 times.
Yeah, if I had to pick a side, I'm going to say less people.
Less, okay.
Yeah.
You think they'd be more picky?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I think it would kind of even out.
Yeah.
Because they always say women have the same sex drive as men and stuff, and I believe them. But I think it would even out at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
But like I said, if I had to pick one side of it, I'd probably go with less. But
all right.
we'll leave it at that.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in to episode 6. As always, give us a follow, give us a share, subscribe.
Please. I'm begging you.
Recently, actually, I did just upload the last 3 episodes to YouTube. We've had some software issues the last couple weeks, but we're all set now. And all the episodes will be back on YouTube every week, just like before. So they're all on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. On Instagram, we are at Average AF Podcast. On Twitter, we're at Average AF Pod. And then find us on Facebook as well. Send us DMs with fan questions and all that kind of stuff. Any feedback, we appreciate it all. But yeah, thanks guys for tuning in, and have a good night.
And we out.